times the Grand Prix man as runner-up. And on the outside, a wild card is Mirko Volter, the first East German for 31 years to race in a World Championship event. That's the heat number one. The rain just about easing up now. Away they go as the starting marshal walks away. Up they go on the inside. Ron Sullivan, the Aussie, in red to the front, trying to pick it up around the outside, Mirko Volter. But in red, it's Ron Sullivan getting a great start ahead of Peter Protasevich. Back in third place in yellow and black is Mirko Volter. Tailed off at the back is Jimmy Nielsen.
Yes, Ryan Sullivan's leading this race. Great start from him, made the first turn. The sheets here on the track have done a fantastic job, and the track's very, very dry. Ryan Sullivan now is riding away, and he's looking as though he's going to win this one by a mile, Tony.
Well, Ron Sullivan seems to be picking it up brilliantly. He's adapted. He wanted to ride quite obviously, and he's absolutely flying around there. Ron Sullivan in red. In blue in second place, the pole, Peter Protasevich on the third lap here now. Back in third place, Mirko Volter. Disappointment for Jimmy Nielsen at the back. But look at the lead there for this man, Ron Sullivan. I say 3 times a runner-up in the Grand Prix, and Ron Sullivan here looking every inch a winner all the way in this one. Ron Sullivan in the red helmet colours, flying away, making light of track conditions. Remember, this is a track laid with 2,000 tons of shale on a running track, and Ron Sullivan is making it their perfect speedway surface. Ron Sullivan in red takes that ahead of in second place, Peter Protasevich in blue, and third in yellow and black, Mirko Volter. A real disappointment indeed for Jimmy Nielsen in fourth place, but certainly a magnificent victory for Ron Sullivan. Let's for England. The England captain, current British champion, goes from gate 1 on the inside in red. Gate 2, the Swede, KARLSSON. Gate 3, Henrik Gustafsson, the Swede, who's of course come into the event to replace Joe Screen. On the outside in yellow and black, the runner-up in the World Long Track Championship for our own Kelvin Tatum is the German Robert Barth, a wild card in this. A few of the fans now getting out in daylight from away from the covers, and the riders certainly now racing for their life. Well, Peter, I wonder what Chris Louis can do. Inside gate favoured last time. Chris Louis makes it away from the Tates. Coming across one is Henrik Gustafsson. Gustafsson leads Louis back in third place now. Coming across in the white helmet, the blue helmet colour there is Mikael Karlsson. Right to the back in yellow is Robert Barth. But what a start by Henrik Gustafsson, who came across there from gate number 3. Louis will go into second place there. Louis will qualify for the next stage. Gustafsson looking faster than he has been all season for Bellevue here, and he's got a flyer, Peter.
Yeah, he did. He certainly made a fabulous start from gate 3, but he's not having such a really good ride. He seems to be struggling a bit on the turns, but he's pulling away from Chris Louis, and if Chris stays in the second place, this will be good enough to progress.
387 metres this track, just about the biggest Grand Prix circuit over this running track here, where they also play American football. The Berlin Thunder play here on the green bit in the middle. But now Henrik Gustafsson there with a lap to go. Henrik Gustafsson is looking fast, and Henrik Gustafsson has got this totally in control ahead of Chris Louis. Even time for him to look back, and Gustafsson, well, the Bellevue fans will be delighted with this performance because he's winning this with some comfort. Chris Louis taking second place, both of them marching on to the next stage there. A magnificent performance there, and third place in, well, it looked to me as if that went to Mikael Karlsson, but we'll have to see there what happens. But the man in white there, Henrik Gustafsson, no doubt about his quality as the winner there of that heat. Champion from Slovenia, the first Slovenian to ride in an event of this standard, and he might like the conditions, Peter.
He could do. He doesn't like it when there's a lot of grip out there. If the track stays pretty slick, he might go really well, but the quick man, but there's no time. He's had to go as he is.
Away they go there now on the inside. No problems for Peter Karlsson there as he keeps it down, but coming around the outside, Brian Anderson picks up speed and grip on the outside, goes by 1, goes by 2. Brian Anderson down the back straight, picking the line and brilliantly taking the lead ahead of Willie Holter. Back in third place is Peter Karlsson in red. Problems at the back for Mate Furjan. Looks to me as if he got totally wrong gearing on, but this man here, Brian Anderson, has shown perhaps what he's missed for the past couple of years. A great start.
Yeah, I was seeing the start of Brian's recovery. He's had a good season up to now. He's riding very, very well. This track isn't easy to ride, but he seems to be coping with it very, very well with those collarbone injuries that he's had for such a long, long while. But Holter also tucked in second place, and that's a good ride from him.
Yeah, Rune Holter, the 5-time Norwegian champion, holding second place and will surely move on to the next stage. It looks as if the gap will not be closed on him from Peter KARLSSON. He'll have to come back and go again. But out front, certainly from Brian Anders' point of view, the form that we saw when he was a Coventry rider and in the Grand Prix, I remember in Sweden, we all talked about him being the next Hans Andersson. Well, he's disappointed since then, but here, a great start for the man in white, Brian Andersson. And look at this, in second place here. Oh, I think in red, Peter KARLSSON just got there ahead of Rune Holter. And Rune Holter certainly will be desperately disappointed with that, because really, from that point of view, well, he was caught a little bit on the line.
I'd have liked to have made a better start, but I think he did make quite a good run from 3 and got across. But at the moment, the track's quite tricky, but I think it's going to come good later on. So fingers crossed this rain won't.
That's interesting that you say it's going to come later on, rather than it going worse later on.
It's going to get worse for a few races, but then I think it'll get better. Yesterday it was bad early on in practice and then got better. So, but it's going to depend on the rain, really.
In terms of your bike setup for Heat 7, are you going to make any changes?
I don't think so at the moment, no. It's keep an eye on the track, but no, the bike felt quite good. I mean, I didn't really feel confident enough to go out and battle for Henke when second was a good enough position for me, really.
Right, good luck in Heat 7. Thanks, Chris. Cheers.
Inside gate 2 is Nicki Pedersen, twice in the Grand Prix previously as a wild card. Gate 3 is our own Andy Smith racing for Bellevue. Tonight this is his 35th Grand Prix out of 37 that have been. And on the outside, Niklas Klingberg, the Intercontinental champion last year, and riding as Team Tatum here.
The racing line, so it could be faster from there.
Well, 2 of the 3 heat winners have come from gate 3 so far. We'll have to see. Andy Smith, Carl Stonehill on the inside there, left a bit, but coming round on the outside and picking it up in yellow and back is Niklas Klingberg. We know he wanted to race. In second place, Nicki Pedersen. Back in third in red is Carl Stonehill. Disappointment for Andy Smith. They're going wider and wider, and in red, Carl Stonehill trying to make ground on Nicki Pedersen. But at the moment out front, Niklas Klingberg is having it very much his own way and picking seemingly the right line.
Yeah, Niklas Klingberg from the Team Tatum there, leading his first GP race ever, and he's got to find out where those bumps are. He was catching them really badly on the first lap, but Carl Stonehill in third place. He's not giving up, but the rider in blue, Nicki Pedersen, look at him now round the outside.
Well, it must be said there that Niklas Klingberg picked the right line to stop him going by, despite the pressure from Nicki Pedersen. But Pedersen is now going backwards as Stonehill is coming through to battle for second place. It's a ding-dong battle here. This is the best race of the night so far, despite the conditions. But out front, Niklas Klingberg is picking his line. He's picking where to go, keeping an eye on the men behind him. And certainly from Niklas Klingberg's point of view, having it very much his own way. And his first Grand Prix ride is going to be a victory for Niklas Klingberg in yellow. Second place there in blue goes to Carl Stonehill. Third in red, second in blue is Nicki Pedersen. Third in red is Carl Stonehill. And work to do now, because Andy Smith, once again, will have to go again. An all too familiar tale for him in the Grand Prix.
Track's so different, compared to yesterday. Like, he got rutty yesterday, but Jesus Christ, I don't know what the hell's up with it.
Lap 3, you seem to really be taking on Nicki Pedersen, and then lap 4, you kind of lost it again.
I think I tried to go around Nicki up there, and you have a bracket on your left-hand side that holds a guard on a chain guard, and that's been ripped off. And
so you've got some dealings to do on your bike. You better get going, because you're in Heat 6. Good luck, mate. Cheers. Thank you.
Rune Holter in blue goes from gate 2, but Bart gate 3, the German, and on the outside, Andy Smith in yellow and black. Smith will have to come across and pick it up. Our starting marshal walks away. The finger on the button. Tony Steele up above us. Away they go in blue. Rune Holter picks it up. Oh, the first fall of the night. Down comes Robert Barth. And the referee will surely have to stop this one with Robert Barth lying on the track. And I just wonder, Peter, whether that's the first intimation we have that perhaps the riders will no longer like the track and they may not want to ride. It really was Robert Barth locked up completely there. Absolute chaos. And Andy Smith is lying, I think, on the track there, desperately needing some sort of attention. Disappointment for Andy Smith. Robert Barth up, fit and well. But dear oh dear for Andy Smith, and I don't think it was his fault. We may get an opportunity to see it again in a moment. Robert Barth is certainly okay. Andy Smith looking the worse for wear. And Mirko Volter and Rune Holter, the two on the inside 2 positions, seemingly getting out of it with some comfort. But
Gets to the corner. on. Just look at the rider in white here. Goes down just as he catches the back wheel of the rider in blue. Rooney Halter catches poor Andy on the outside. Now Andy went straight off into that air fence, hit it very, very hard. Again from the angle here, the rider in blue, Rooney Halter, really makes the start, but he overslides a little bit, and the rider in white, Robert Barth, couldn't avoid that back wheel. And there was Andy Smith really getting the full consequences of that little melee going into that turn. Again on the outside, Andy's just really got a good line. He's about to put the power on, realises that he's missed the start. He's got the power off at the same time that Robert Barth goes down, just catches the bike there of Barth, and Andy's headlong into that air fence, but he is...
Took a big one here. I think if it wasn't for the air fence, we would have been taken right to hospital.
Yeah, air fence.
White is Robert Barth. The unfortunate Andy Smith in yellow from the outside as our starting marshal goes away. Smith not the worse for wear and making it through there around the outside behind the man in blue, Rooney Halter. Smith is picking it up. A great ride by Andy Smith down there, leaving behind him Robert Barth, and right at the back is Mirko Volta. What about this, PC?
Yeah, a good ride for Andy, a fantastic first turn. This time he kept the power on, found a good line there, good safe line, but you see they're having difficulty getting into that corner, and out goes Rooney Halter. Bike stopped.
Well, Rooney Halter has packed up, which means he'll be out of the meeting, but Andy Smith will move on. Unusually for him, if he can hold it here, all he's got to do now is to finish in the first two. With 2 laps gone, Andy Smith is ahead of Robert Barth. Back in the rear is Mirko Volta. The German could go just a little way down the road and go home after this one, but Andy Smith, born in York, rides for Bellevue, 3 times a British champion, bucking and rearing. He's now got a battle on his hands with Robert Barth. But there, Andy Smith, we know now that Andy Smith on his way to victory here. All he's got to do is hold it for another half a lap. And Andy Smith in yellow and black, a great victory for him, bouncing up off that safety fence, bouncing up from the accident, and now winning that heat ahead of in white there, Robert Barth. And disappointment for Rooney Halter. Mirko Volta in red will go home as well. But Andy Smith, what a ride for him. He's bounced back in more ways than one, PC. Pouring rain, bounced into the fence, came back to take the checkered flag.
Yeah, there's the unfortunate Rooney Halter there, walking back. Serious problem there with the bike, just stopped right in the middle of the turn. A very awkward place as well, because Andy Smith was right behind him, stayed in the middle of the circuit, and he's walking back to the pits.
Well, it means that the man in blue there, Rooney Halter, well, he struggled a little bit on the track, didn't he? And then his bike packed up.
Yeah, he was going so well yesterday here in practice, but just look at Andy Smith. Rooney did really well there, but also the rider in white there, Robert Barth, almost ran into the back there of Halter. But what a gift for Andy Smith, because he will now progress further on into this. Again, we can see it from the air. Andy's just not able to get the power on early, and that did him a big favour really, because he was actually on the right line to avoid Rooney Halter, and Andy Smith there, that was really good.
Sweden in the red helmet colours. Carl Stonehill from Workington and England goes from gate 2. Gate 3 is Jimmy Nilsson. Unusual for him to finish low down the order early on, and Matej Furjan, the Slovenian, on the outside. Remember, the last 2 riders here will go home respectively with 2 and 1 Grand Prix points, depending on their finishing positions of 3rd and 4th. And the Matej Furjan pulls across. Furjan will pick up the grip, bucking and rearing, and down the back straight in blue. Stonehill are coming through, blocked slightly there by Jimmy Nilsson, which means that Stonehill now fades back, and he's going to have a battle. But Jimmy Nilsson is in 2nd place, and way out front now, Matej Furjan got a great start.
Yeah, Matej Furjan, the Slovenian, the only Slovenian in the GP, the first one in fact. He's really pulling away in this one. We know when he makes a good start, he can ride really, really well, but I don't think any of them are enjoying the surface, Tony.
Well, Jimmy Nilsson, who we saw in league action just a few days ago in 2nd place, will surely march on if he can hold it there. They're not enjoying it, certainly. Most of the fans huddling under the covers you see in the background there, under the stands. Some bravely watching in the open, but the riders having to brave it all. And certainly from Carl Stonehill's point of view, you see him battling there in 3rd place, and Carl Stonehill having a go, and Carl Stonehill is coming through there around the outside. Carl Stonehill will get through surely. Can he do it? We'll have to see. There is Carl Stonehill. The man in yellow is going to win it, Matty Furrier. Carl Stonehuer moves on to the next stage in blue. A great piece of passing. Disappointment for Mikael Karlsson. Disappointment for Jimmy Nielsen. Well, I'm not quite sure where Carl Stonehuer came from, but what a ride by him, really, when he picked it up on lap 3 there. And, well, Matty Furrier in his first Grand Prix, he stays in as the winner of heat number 6.
Now where Jimmy Nielsen leaves a big gap there, shuts the throttle off just as Carl Stonehuer's got it all screwed on in the dirt, and Jimmy's meeting's over, but fantastic news there for Carl Stonehuer, and very brave riding and very deserved for him.
Well, entertaining.
What a change of events there. Just went out there like a rocket.
Yeah, I made a decent start in the first one, but I just got caught up with the traffic that didn't turn and went into the fence.
How glad were you, though, that there's an air fence right there?
Oh, very glad, because I couldn't get off the bike. I tried to jump off it, but backside got hooked on the lifting handle.
Well, everyone was really surprised that you went out. Not only that you went out, but you did so well. Now, through to Heat 9, you went out in Heat 4, had a disappointing heat. How has the track changed since Heat 4?
It's got very deep now, and it's very hard to turn.
Right.
So it's very inconsistent, and the drizzle isn't helping, because even though I was in front, I couldn't see very good.
Really, visibility was bad, was
Yeah.
it? Okay. All right, Andy, well, thanks a lot. Let you get back.
Inside in red, Brian Anderson goes in blue, gate 2. Gate 3, England's Chris Louis, the British captain in gate 3. And on the outside is NIKKI Pedersen in yellow and black. Pedersen, of course, seen him before. Not only England that has rain at this time of year. Very, very wet. Back, of course, the big cover, away they go. A flyer on the outside for Pedersen, who comes across. But look at this, and Pedersen, oh, he did ever so well there, but he's come off. I don't know what our referee will do about that, whether he will stop the race. NIKKI Pedersen is on his feet. Yes, they're going to stop the race here. And it's just disappointment for NIKKI Pedersen. I don't think it was his fault. He was left no space at all. The only difference between he and Andy Smith a short while ago is that he didn't really go right into the fence. He's certainly got a little bit of an ankle problem, and if our referee, Tony Still, is going to be consistent.
He did so well to hang on to that until the very, very last minute. Nose dived into the shale here, and he's on the track, but I'm pretty sure that the referee's going to put all 4 back, because again, it wasn't his fault. The referee had to stop the race because of this incident, but NIKKI Pedersen really got the rough end of the stick there. I'm sure the referee is going to put him back in, and we are going to see another rerun because of this first corner. I'm afraid we just need about another 6 feet off the inside curb to make this corner a little bit easier for the lads. We can see there just isn't room there for certainly 3 or 4 riders to go in that turn together.
Well, they have to follow the profile, of course, of a running track, Peter, and that's the difficulty here, because it's not really what they're used to, is it?
Well,
Allowed to start, but I just used my head a little bit more, you know, tried to see where the others were riding, and they were making a few mistakes up front, and I was just trying to compensate on their misfortunes, really.
Through to Heat 9, so far with Andy Smith, possibly Chris Louis in this heat, depending on where he comes. The Brits are firing on all cylinders today.
Well, you know, we're all hungry, we all want to do it, and I myself so desperately, you know, I've had 1 year at it now, and I want to get through and make the break this year.
Do you think that year, last year, has really sort of set you up to know exactly what you're doing in Grand Prix this year?
We'll find out later.
That is the perfect answer. Now, just as we're waiting for the next heat to start, just looking over at my monitor to see if we're still not ready yet. So, you enjoying yourself tonight?
I've had better nights. No, it doesn't matter what the conditions are, they're the same for everyone. Obviously, the further on up the ladder I get tonight, the more I'm going to enjoy it, and the more rewarding it will be.
Yeah, the more points that you can grab really in these conditions, the better.
Yeah, the conditions are so difficult. The track's running up real bad. There's some big holes, and there's a lot of deep dirt there, and you get in, and it's ripping like there's a bracket. It ripped mine off, and it's ripping a fair few of the other boys.
Okay, well, we're going to get back now to the track.
Brian Sullivan, the Aussie, goes in red. Gate 2 is Brian Anderson, the Dane, in blue. Gate 3, Chris Louis, the British captain, he goes in white. And on the outside is NIKKI Pedersen in yellow. And let's hope his bumps and bruises have cleared up, and he's back and confident and waiting to ride in this one. 24 heats in total. Heat number 24, the grand final. Our starting margin moves away. the tapes fly up very, very quickly. Ron Sullivan comes across, but look at Nicky Pedersen from the outside, almost doing an Andy Smith here. But Pedersen in yellow leads down that straight with behind him in red Ron Sullivan. Back in blue is Brian Anderson. Disappointment for him, but he will have another go to show the form he rode in winning heat number 3. But Nicky Pedersen, who came second in heat number 4, is now first in this one, down the back straight, ahead of Ron Sullivan, and looks set to qualify for the main event.
Yeah, Nicky Pedersen is certainly turning out to be a big star in the Elite League in the UK, and out here at Berlin, he's winning this race, and he'll go on to the next stage if he can carry on. He's riding very, very well, very young, got a big heart, and that's what you need when the track's like this.
Well, certainly looking impressive there, but what about Chris Louis? Chris Louis's got work to do here, and Chris Louis is in second place now, him having moved ahead of Ron Sullivan. I think that Chris Louis is right at the back. Oh dear, I thought I spotted that there, the rain getting on the helmet colours, and Chris Louis will have to go again here, and well, he's going to find a tough one. But Nicky Pedersen on the final lap in the yellow helmet colours ahead of Ron Sullivan in red in second place. Both of those march on to the main event. In blue in third place was Brian Anderson. Chris Louis means that he won't come against fellow Brits Carl Stonehewer and Andy Smith, because that last place puts him in a separate heat from them. But Nicky Pedersen, number 2, will go from the inside in red. KLINGBERG, Team Tatum, on heat 4, goes in gate number 2. Gate number 3 is Peter Protasiewicz, the pole in white, and on the outside, Peter KARLSSON from Sweden, who finished in second place in heat number 3. This is heat number 8. The first 2 go through to the main event. The next 2 have one more chance so to do. What do you fancy this one, Peter? Heat number 8. Gustafsson on the inside in red. Will he make it for the tapes? He flew first time out. He has again. Coming across in yellow there is Peter KARLSSON, which means it's Sweden's 1 and 2. Coming across, oh, the 2 Swedes out front. Gustafsson in red, KARLSSON in yellow. 1 and 2 in this one. And bucking and rearing and bumps coming thick and plenty. But KLINGBERG back in third place. At the back, the pole, Peter Protasiewicz. But the back 2 will have another opportunity as they go respectively in heats 9 and 10. But the 2 leaders, if it stays like this, will move smartly on to the main event. And Henrik Gustafsson, in such poor league form this season, is now bearing it up here, because this will be his second heat win of the night, and he's stretching his lead with every bump that he goes across.
Yeah, I must say, Henrik Gustafsson certainly looking much better now than he did at Poole on Wednesday night for Bellevue, and the track seems to be improving slightly. They seem to be getting into these corners a little bit easier than they were earlier on, Tony.
Track's getting some water on it now. It was desperately dry early on, and now it's almost up on the surface, and it may be a little bit firm underneath. It's almost like they're used to riding, surely, in league races in several countries throughout the world. But Henrik Gustafsson here now, wearing a number 25, deputising for the injured Joe Screen, taking the checkered flag there. Ahead of in second place, Peter KARLSSON in yellow. Disappointment for him, but those 2 will march on. There they are, they shake hands. Peter KARLSSON and Henrik Gustafsson, 2 Swedes. It means the pole, Peter Protasiewicz and Nick.
Oh yeah, it's excellent. I just have one fall off, you know, out there, but I went back on the spare bike. My bike wasn't feeling right, actually, the first one, so I'm pleased happy there was a rerun, actually. I had a good start on it. I don't know what happened, but it didn't sound right, so my second start out from gate 4, I mean, I can't feel better make it from gate 4, you know, so I'm quite happy.
Well done, you look happy. You're through to the main event now. How about the prospect of riding against the world champion Mark Laram?
Well, I mean, I'm not really bothered about who is the world champion now. We're starting a new season this season now, so everybody can win it now, so it's the first round, so everything can happen. I try to just do my best, and then we can see how it goes.
So it's a clean slate and you mean to put your name on it?
Oh yeah, I try to do it, you know, but I'm still young, I'm doing my best, so I keep my head up and then give full gas and then see what happens.
Good luck, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Brian Anderson in red on the inside. Peter Protasiewicz goes in blue from gate 2. Our own Andy Smith, the Union Jack there, goes from gate 3 in white. And on the outside, another Union Jack man, Carl Stonehewer, the working rider from the Premier League. He goes from the outside. The first 2 through. Crept there, but they've kept it down here, and Brian Anderson has picked it up on the inside. But look at this, and down at the back in yellow goes Carl Stonehewer. I wonder what our referee will do with that one. The safety fence again coming into play. Peter, unfortunate for Stoney.
Yeah, and again he was on the outside. We can see always the rider on the outside position when the track's narrow. He's the one that catches the worst of it, and fortunately Carl held onto the bike there and just buried it into the bottom of that air fence, and we will put them all back in. can see what happens. Andy Smith on the white gets a nudge. There really is a domino effect there, and Andy's really going round the outside, but poor old Karl on the outside had nowhere to go whatsoever. And we can see that Andy Smith dropped that clutch, and he was a little bit late there, but he just managed to pull to the corner. But Peter Protasevich also and Brian Anderson were there, and poor old Stoney on the outside just had to bail out, but he's still got his hand there on the lever, and he's not let go of the bike.
Gate 3, Stonehill on the outside. No dominoes we have this time. Away they go. The tape delayed this time by our referee, and that may help the safety. But look at that in red, because coming round the outside is Carl Stonehill, tracking the man in red, Brian Anderson, and Stoney will make the main event if it stays like this. Disappointment at the back for Andy Smith, but look at what's happening there, because it's a great ride by Brian Anderson, and Carl Stonehill has gone with him. Andy Smith tailed off at the rear. Peter Protasevich and Andy Smith could go home in reverse directions. Protasevich to Poland, Smith to England, but the front two will race on, Peter.
Yeah, Carl Stonehill has had a very good ride here, out in front. Brian Anderson not being troubled, and Carl knows that this second place is going to be good enough to take him into the main event, but poor old Andy Smith there, he had to back off on the first turn, and he's at the back and going home.
Brian Anderson showing us what we might have missed in the last couple of years when he's had collarbone problems, as he's in the lead here. And Carl Stonehill, well, he'll have to watch the man behind him, Peter Protasevich, but he's on the last lap. He has 3/4 of a lap to go to hold him at bay, but Protasevich is catching him down the back. Round the final bend, this is going to be vital for Andy Smith. Can he hold it? Protasevich has gone wide. Smith has come through. Protasevich will get third place, but it doesn't really matter. And Andy Smith once again goes home before the main event. But a marvellous ride by Brian Anderson, a courageous one by Carl Stonehill, who bounced up off the fence. And Carl Stonehill will go through to the main event, and he will go through to join Billy Hamill and TOMASZ GOLLOB in Heat 12. And the Slovenian goes in a white, and on the outside it's the German wildcard Robert Barth, runner-up in the long track championship with Kelvin Tatum last year. This is
Power on going in.
our starting marshal moves away, not raining at the moment, but Chris Louis, he doesn't get the power and he's got work to do. He's on the inside. Could he be trapped as they go wide? Louis comes through. Could he pick up second place? In white out front, Matty Furrian. Louis at the back. Louis got work to do, but Barth is not in control. If Louis can keep it down, he can still make it. Klingberg is in third, but Barth now, with the cheers of the Germans behind him, is tracking the Slovenian Matty Furrian. Not what we wanted for Chris Louis.
No, not at all. Furrian again is having a great ride, and he won his last one, but also big challenge from Robert Barth, but Chris Louis struggling at the back, Tony.
No speed for Chris Louis. Clearly the conditions not suiting him, and I think he seems to have given up a little bit now. Chris Louis will have to wait for the Millennium Stadium, where he'll have to go from the early stages once again. But that man there in white, Matty Furrian, is looking good and enjoying himself now, the Slovenian, with a lap to go. In second place, Robert Barth, the German wildcard, could march on. Disappointment for the back two, NIKLAS Klingberg in red and Chris Louis in blue. But certainly it's celebration time for Matty Furrian. Matty Furrian still owned by Bellevue. Maybe they could do with him at the moment, but certainly enjoying it there. And Matty Furrian punches the air. Matty Furrian knows ahead of Robert Barth that he's pleased those fans. The Poles are cheering for him too. Here in this German stadium, just not too far we are from the Brandenburg Gate. But Matty Furrian celebrates two German champions when he rode down there for Landshut. Gate 3, Nicky Pedersen, who's looked so impressive tonight. And on the outside, the German wildcard, Robert Barth. How tough is this going to be for Mark, Peter?
It's good.
Our starting marshal will move away. The first heat of the main event, and Mark Aram moves out wide, but coming across is Nicky Pedersen in white, who already has got used to the track. The Ram's in second place. Back in third is Todd Wiltshire. Back at the rear in yellow is the German Robert Barth. But what a start by Nicky Pedersen. The Ram, the usual exciting style, as he bucks and rears and sets off in pursuit.
Yeah, we've just had a really good track grade here during the interval, and it's good really that it's settled down. Mark Laram's able to feel his way around the circuit, but like we thought, he's got no answer against Nicky Pedersen, who's flying.
Well, brilliant riding by Nicky Pedersen. We've seen what he could do earlier on in the meeting, and Nicky Pedersen has shown his true worth here, because Nicky Pedersen is looking good.
Mark Laram's having a real go, though. We know Mark never gives up till the flag drops, and he's having a real go at Nicky Pedersen.
Look at Nicky Pedersen, but coming through on the inside. Wiltshire is trying as well, but Mark Laram, as they go into the final lap, is now putting pressure on. A familiar line round the outside, cuts back on the inside. The world champion is showing his style. The world champion surely will progress further, and he's got a lot more to come. But Nicky Pedersen, but look at this, coming through here. Oh, Laram is beaten on the line. Wiltshire came through in blue. Perhaps I spoke too soon. Nicky Pedersen ahead of Todd Wiltshire in blue, and Mark Laram, for my money, beaten by just a wheel width. And was he caught half asleep there, PC?
It looked like it. Mark was trying to actually pass Nicky Pedersen, and because he was racing, he left the place from Mark.
Well, look at this, Peter. This is where it comes, and I just wonder whether Mark pulled it back. It was desperately tight on the line. Let's see if we can see it. Yes, I'm sure that the man in blue, Todd Wiltshire, got it, and that means Laram will have to go again. And it means the winner in white, Nicky Pedersen, will go through to heat 17 to the inside gate. And the second place man, Todd Wiltshire, will go from gate 3 in heat 18. And Laram will have to go again. Around in Poland, July 1999. This is heat number 12. The riders look across to the magnets, apply the tape from the inside. Billy Hamill makes it, cutting across in white. It's Gustafsson is used to the track. Gollob in yellow, Gollob there in blue is stranded at the back, but out front, well, Gustafsson's going away again.
He is, but Carl Stoney has jumped up to second place. Look at Carl, what a fabulous ride. He's just gone round the outside of Billy Hamill. And Carl, again, this is the experience of going out in those earlier heats that Gary was talking about.
Well, we could have Gollob against Mark Laram if he finishes last next time out here, but as Peter said, how has Hamill stayed on? That is unbelievable at the back there, but out front, they're away from the trouble. Gustafsson's out front, in second place is Stonehewer, and look at this, because Gollob, well, really, Billy Hamill somehow survived. Now Hamill's goal! Hamill runs into the back there of Carl Stonehewer, locks up, but looking back is Gustafsson. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. We've had just about everything in this race, and Gollob has packed up altogether. The race is going to be won here by Henrik Gustafsson. It means that Gollob will be up against Laram. What a contest that's going to be. But it's going to finish with Gustafsson in white, the wheelie, ahead of Carl Stonehewer, who moves on to the next stage in yellow and black. Billy Hamill gets third place in red. Thomas Gollob has packed up. He will race against Mark Laram. Well, we had just about everything in that one. They shake hands, the front two. Credit to Gustafsson, 3 rides, 3 wins tonight. Credit to Carl Stonehewer, who's bounced back and taken.
Carl Stonehewer there got in all kinds of trouble entering that corner. The bike lifted, and Billy Hamill on the outside was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Just look at Billy there. He rode up the safety fence there like the wall of death. Fortunate that his footrest didn't catch in the, and again, Billy's lost his hand off the handlebar. Does so well just to stay on that bike. He was lying across the front of the handlebars there, lost his throttle hand. How did he correct that? Again, we can see Carl Stonehewer going into the bottom bend here. He just hits a bad bump there, but look at Billy again. That's the same spot that he did, same thing on the earlier lap. Billy just about corrects that, but over the finish there, what is Henrik Gustafsson doing to be riding so well tonight? He's doing everything.
So it's, you know, Mark was struggling a little bit with Nicky in front, holding him up, so I sort of took advantage of that.
You could clearly see what was going on there, but was there anything in your mind to say that you would end up third?
Nothing at all. I mean, this is World Championship, completely different to league matches, and you give your 110% right to the line, and it paid off for me that time.
How important is it, do you think, for you as the experience of going out first and knowing what the track's like as opposed to Mark going in cold?
Yeah, well, it's, you know, it's some riders take it different ways. You know, sometimes going out first you can take advantage of that, or some riders prefer to come out second. With me, I don't really mind.
Okay, well, you're very calm and collected, ready to go again?
I'm ready. I've been around long enough, and I want to get out there and enjoy myself.
Todd, thank you very much.
Maximum a few weeks back at Poole, despite finishing on the losing side. Lee Adams goes from gate 2, now an Oxford rider with Kings Lynn last year. He goes in blue. Gate 3 is Ryan Sullivan from Peterborough in the white helmet colours, and on the outside in yellow and black, the Slovenian Matti Furjan has been riding for Peterborough, still Bellevue's property. That's heat 13 on the way. The winner goes to heat 17, where he'll ride in the second gate. And the second place man goes to heat 18, where he'll go from the outside. That's how it chooses. See what happens. The others will have to go again. The men in third and fourth place. A real flyer there almost for Leigh Adams, but coming across in white once again, Ryan Sullivan. Round the outside in yellow goes Matty Furrion, and Rickardson is struggling there, but now Rickardson pushes his way through in second place. The only seeded rider through so far is Todd Wiltshire, but now Tony Rickardson, for me, doesn't look as if he has too much wrong with his hand in this one, and now Rickardson is out in pursuit of Ryan Sullivan. Oh, I spoke too soon. Tony Rickardson is down. It looked to me as if it was his own fault. I wonder what the referee will say in that one, Peter.
Tony, I think he lost the chain there going into that corner. He had all the power on, he hit that bump. Suddenly I think he lost all his drive, and that just catapulted him straight head first into the ground, and he fell very, very heavily there, and I would suggest that was a broken chain, or a chain, his rear chain was thrown off on one of those bumps.
Well,
yeah, I think I did see that,
certainly
Tony.
looks like it, Peter, there. We'll have a look at it again, Peter.
Yeah, we can see Tony in second place. He's coming into the corner here. He's got the power on. He's going to go round the outside. He just hits that point there, and the chain comes off the rear of the back wheel. The rear chain came down, lost all his drive, straight onto the floor.
Peter, that's all about the flexing of the bike on the bumps, isn't it, that pulls it off?
It is, Tony. These engines that are laid down in these frames, there's very little material holding these engines. They can flex around, and if you hit a bump very, very hard like that, the bike will flex, and it can and does throw the chain off, as we're about to see again here, right at that point. No drive over the front of the handlebars, and what a sad end, really, for Tony Rickardson to that race.
The rain has started to come down, and perhaps Tony Rickardson will be praying there might be some abandonment here. But I'm sure that Ollie Olsen, the race director, will want to try and complete it. Disappointment there for Tony Rickardson.
I wasn't particularly fast. I think Billy, I believe, hit the fence here on the outside of me after I hit that big hole. And I also believe he caught me back wheel up the top. Whether that's right or not, I don't know, but...
Well, you were obviously taking no notice of what was going on behind you. Actually, if you watch that heat back, you won't believe how Billy managed to hold on to his bike to even get round and finish. But for you, you're just flying.
Well, I've still got a few more races, but to make one of them finals would be lovely, you know.
Well, you're in with NIKKI Pedersen in the next heat. Now, he is also firing all cylinders.
He's flying in NIKKI, so he's trapping well, he's riding well. So I just got to pull one out with a bag hammer and do it.
You've got to make that start.
Yeah, I haven't been doing that bad. There again, I was a bit atrocious then, really, and the inside seemed to get it. I went to give it the big licks, and then Billy started to come back, and I just had to lean on Billy just so he didn't get through the inside.
All right, well, you're fighting well. Keep it up.
Thank you. See you later. Cheers.
The third man will have another go. Starting motion again walks away. Away on the inside in blue goes Leigh Adams, but coming across fellow Aussie Ryan Sullivan to pick it up. Ryan Sullivan now with the down the straight, but Furrion comes through to go in front of Leigh Adams, and that's a surprise to get the advantage of riding the track earlier tonight, because the Slovenian now has gone from back to front, and Matty Furrion now with one lap gone has come from third place to take the lead, and now he'll take some catching.
He will, and that was a fantastic manoeuvre to that slip by Leigh Adams and Ryan Sullivan, and he's going so well. It's just like a steam train from Slovenia.
Well, I think he wants to talk to Susie again, probably the way he's going. Matty Furrion with 2 laps gone, stretching his lead. Back in second place is Ryan Sullivan, and again a surprise, because it means that 2 seeded riders, Tony Rickardson and Leigh Adams, could go out of this one. But Leigh Adams is coming again. Look at Leigh Adams. He's gone by Ryan Sullivan, and now he's sitting out on the final lap in pursuit of the leader, Matty Furrion. Matty Furrion has lost it here. Adams goes through, and Adams now has come from last to first. A fantastic speedway meeting. We're seeing it all here in what was Old East Germany. The stadium has come alive, and Leigh Adams in blue there takes that ahead of it. Second place, Ryan Sullivan in white. Matty Furrion right at the back in yellow. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. All change all around, and Leigh Adams, top of the averages in the British Elite League, has shown his quality, shown he can pass, and the 5 times Australian champion is the man of the moment.
Too tight, because Furrion's just able to slip past him down the back straight, and it looks here as though Ryan Sullivan's going to go on to win this one. They cross those tricky bumps there, entering the pits turn, and then Furrion just gets on the inside where no one's been here all night. There's grip still down low, and we can see how he's working that bike, working that back tyre. He's getting all the grip low down, and the way he goes past Ryan Sullivan here, that must have been some shock for him, but Matty then sort of cruised around, but unfortunately later on He tended to just ride a little bit too quick in one spot and missed the corner. We can see when he went over the bumps, he took them too quickly, lost a place, but still that was good enough for him to carry on into the later of the programme.
Jason Crump in the red helmet colours. Greg Hancock, the 97 world champion, goes from gate 2 from California. Gate 3 is Peter KARLSSON, who got here as runner-up in heat number 8. And on the outside, Brian Anderson, who won heat 9, his second heat victory of the night. After this heat and 10 more to go. Will we finish the meeting? Away they go. Slight jump there from Greg Hancock, but coming across from the outside once again is Brian Anderson. Anderson coming through, and Anderson picking it up down that back straight ahead of Greg Hancock. Coming through into third place is Peter KARLSSON. Problems at the back for Jason Crump, but now Crump is making an effort to come through. But way out front now is Brian Anderson. He's picked his line. He's going to stick with it. Down the back straight, Anderson stretches his lead again.
Yeah, Brian's having a fabulous meeting up to now. You can see the experience of those earlier heats. He's just pulling away from the opposition. Greg Hancock's having a good ride here in second place, just managing to hold out a challenge from Peter KARLSSON, but Jason Crump seems to be sort of weighing it up on lap 2, but he's now struggling again at the back.
Well, certainly Brian Anderson marching on out front. Second in blue is Greg Hancock. Battle joined by Peter KARLSSON, trying to put Hancock under pressure in second place and picking it up on the outside. But Hancock comes across. Hancock tries to pick up the grip. KARLSSON comes through. They're interchanging places, but all behind Anderson. Crump is now having a go at the back, but Anderson down that back straight with a quarter of a lap to go. Brian Anderson is going to take this. Peter KARLSSON has moved into second place, and yet again the unseeded riders are stealing a march with their track experience, and it means that Crump and Hancock will have to go again. And Brian Anderson is now the rider that we thought he was some 3 years ago, when we thought that he would succeed Hans Nielsen as a legendary Dane, but it's taken.
It's a really good move here on Greg Hancock, because Peter went wide, he went round the outside of Greg. Greg thought he was coming round him. Greg shut the door, but coming straight up the inside. Peter really sold him the dummy there, because here Peter comes round very wide. Greg's holding it tight, thinking he's holding him off, but Peter's so determined round the outside. Greg's just right in the centre of the circuit, but Peter, he's got all this speed, he's got his wheels in line early, and he did a great manoeuvre here to go by Greg Hancock at the finish.
Well, a great performance by Brian Anderson throughout the night to take that heat. Well, it was pretty tight behind him for much of the time, but certainly Brian Anderson showing his worth. Peter KARLSSON coming there.
Simple laps, but you know, we got by it. The conditions aren't perfect, but you know, I think everybody's making the most of it, and let's hope we can all get by. And you know, it'd be nice to make that A final.
Listen, Lee, they said there was no overtaking on this track, but you proved them wrong.
Yeah, a lot of mistakes. You know, a lot of the guys are riding pretty stupid, really, and you know, riding into the ruts, which is really crazy. But anyway, I'm just trying to pick me lines and sort of come in deep and turn back and get a fairly smooth line. So, you know, we'll just have to see what happens. It's going to be cut and thrust all night.
Are you one of the riders that doesn't mind coming in later? Do you like to watch the first heats and see how it's going to run?
It's not ideal with a track like this. You know, you haven't really had that much time to set up on conditions and things. So it's not perfect, but yeah, I don't really, you know, like it that much, but we're getting on with it tonight. So
certainly are getting on with it. Thank you very much.
Not a problem.
Good luck. Cheers.
Inside in red, Ron Sullivan goes from gate 2, TOMASZ GOLLOB from gate 3, and Jason Crump from the outside. The only unseeded rider, Ron Sullivan, in this one, and he has some track experience here already. And one of the big guns at least is going to go out of this one, and that'll be job number 1, Grand Prix 2001. Heat number 15, away they go, they fly on the inside, and coming across GOLLOB in white to pick it up. Oh, going wide, and down is Ron Sullivan, and Sullivan seems to have nobody near him at all there. I don't know if the referee will stop this, but it will certainly help Mark Naram if he does so. But for my money, that man there, Ron Sullivan, should be, excluding Peter. There seemed to be nobody near him.
Well, Ryan just seemed to catch, I think it was possibly Mark Naram there. I think Mark just kind of caught him as they entered that corner. Mark's riding back towards the pit, because on the start, Mark Naram, you can see he's on gate 1. Now he pulls towards the first corner, head down. Ryan Sullivan's next to him. When they get to the turn here, look, he runs into Ryan's leg. Ryan's all crossed up, goes down, and we've got a difficult decision here now by Tony Steele, the referee, because he could exclude Mark, or he's got the option to put all 4 back in. He certainly won't exclude Ryan Sullivan, because Ryan was the innocent party there, but because of the tightness of this first turn, I would imagine that all 4 should go back in.
Well, that would be consistent with the decisions made earlier on this evening by referee Tony Steele, but it would be a major shock if the world champion in his second ride was excluded and eliminated from the meeting. Will Ron Sullivan get back up? That won't be a problem, but who will be left out? Who will be excluded, if any, by referee Tony Steele? We await his decision with anticipation and, dare I say it, Peter, bated breath here.
Well, it's raining again, Tony, here, isn't it?
Up by the tapes and 1 or 2 caught on the hop there, and TOMASZ GOLLOB in the white helmet colours to the apex of the bend first, benefiting from the chance of a restart. In blue, Ron Sullivan follows him. Mark Laram's back in third. Could he tumble out of the World Championship in the first attempt in this round? Back in the rear is Jason Crump. Mark has to finish in the first 2, and it's not looking like it now.
No, he's got to get there. We know he won't give up whatsoever, but he's not able to get on the quick line. Ryan Sullivan's going pretty well there in second place, but Mark's got to pass him, and he'll probably try something desperate if he doesn't manage it on the first couple of laps.
We know the capabilities of Mark Laram, but he appears to be losing ground behind Ron Sullivan. No problems out front for TOMASZ GOLLOB. The Polish fans will enjoy this, but Mark is trying to come again. A lap and a half to go for Mark Laram to try and do something here. He needs to do something pretty desperate. Otherwise, this will be the shock of this round of the World Championships. And with a lap to go, Laram will have to produce miracles. But this man, TOMASZ GOLLOB, has time to look back. But Laram is having a go. Laram is closing the gap on Sullivan. Can he do it on the final bend? I don't think he's going to. And Laram is going to tumble out. TOMASZ GOLLOB looks down at his motor. He takes that ahead of him, blue Ron Sullivan. Laram tumbles out, the world champion at the first attempt. Will get a measly 5 points here in this, and that is not really what he wants to stay in the Grand Prix. In fact, he gets 6 Grand Prix points for third place here, Mark Laram, and that is not the start the world champion wants. And in the Millennium Stadium, he will have to start in the early heats in the...
What's my first question to you?
What happened really, I mean, cut a long story short, in the first race, you know, the track the way it is through trying, I ended up giving a place away, and that place has cost me a vital position, you know, but what can I do? I'm a trier, and I tried and somebody passed me around the inside, but the track's got so slippery now and big holes that it's just one line in, you're just waiting, everyone's shutting off, and there's no way of going in to make up any ground, so, but can't complain. At the end of the day, it's my own fault, and I didn't get out there, you know. I think I was unfortunate to have 2 inside starts, and I think the outside ones give you a better run, but no excuses, I just didn't cut it.
Well, Mark, thank you for coming over so early to talk to us. We appreciate that. On the bright side, Millennium Stadium coming up, and as you're saying to Norrie, it's definitely going to be dry there, and the conditions going to be much better, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully we get all that old roof working, we should be all right, but yeah, we'll have to see. Like, it's no good crying about it, you know. I had a good year last year, and it's just started off not as to plan this year, but it's a long season.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mark. We'll let you go. Thank you.
Only 6 points for a
They are in the main event and don't come in until heat 11 at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff. On the inside is Nicky Pedersen. Nicky Pedersen, the young Dane who's done so well here so far tonight. Lee Adams, the Australian from Mildura, 5 times Australian champion. If he does that, he'll be able to take his time over his lunch before the race meeting at Cardiff. This is heat number 17. Now starting marshal again walks away. Tony Steele, the referee, pops the button up by the tapes on the inside in red. Nicky Pedersen, down they go. Stonehewer's down. Well, on previous pedigree here, that'll be all 4 riders back in because it's already happened 3 times here tonight. Unlucky for Carl Stonehewer. He ran out of space. He ran out, and I just wonder whether Tony Steele will allow him to come back in, Peter.
Up to it again, because if it's his best bike and the clutch is jammed up with shale, it'll be a problem, but we can see what happens here. It was Nicky Pedersen in the red that made the start, run straight into the side of Carl there, and on the outside Peter Karlsson did very, very well to avoid that initial impact and just about stay on the bike, but Carl again, he was in the thick of things. At this point it looked as though Carl was pulling away, but that Nicky Pedersen there, like I say, he's got a big heart. It's one of the young up-and-comers, and he could really be Denmark's #1 in the very near future.
Hard riding from Nicky Pedersen on the inside, Peter. No quarter arse, none given.
No, not at all. You see, he was clear of the rider in blue, so he had quite an open track to go for. Unfortunately, Karl was just the meat in the sandwich there, and Peter KARLSSON did very, very well.
This is heat number 17. Come on, Stoney, number 12. Let's see you get to first position and keep that Union Jack flying. He's doing well here. Stonehill in the bunch. Stonehill taken wide. Can he pick it up? Now he's in the back. He's work to do, but out front, well, sailing away down that back straight, and work to do here. But Carl Stonehill's in the back. Man out front is Peter KARLSSON. I said he went wide. He started wide and stayed there. In second place, NIKKI PEDERSEN. In third place is Leigh Adams. Work to do. Shock could be if Adams drops out of this one. But for Carl Stonehill, this could be, well, he's got to come back and do it in another race.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Karl there. He just was balked on every single angle, but Peter KARLSSON is accelerating away. Leigh Adams as well, having a real good go here at NIKKI PEDERSEN. And it looks as though all that experience from Leigh might just take him by, but Pedersen is going real quick, isn't he, Tony?
A wheel battle in second place, though, there, and they've got work to do here. But out front, Peter KARLSSON, he started wide, kept out of trouble. It's a ding-dong battle here between these two here now. Out front, certainly going well is Peter KARLSSON in yellow, but can Leigh Adams catch NIKKI PEDERSEN? I don't think he's going to. And that will be NIKKI PEDERSEN taking second place. He goes a shade wide on the final bend, but NIKKI PEDERSEN comes through. It means that NIKKI PEDERSEN is through to the semi-finals. Leigh Adams will have to go again, and Pedersen punches the air. Peter KARLSSON in first place takes it with some comfort. He's delighted with that effort from the outside gate. The Flying Dane, Brian Anderson, he goes in a gate 2. Heat 18, Brian Anderson, heat 2, gate 2 in blue. Todd Wiltshire in white from gate 3, and on the outside it's Matti Furjan already through to the semi-finals. Who can make it from here? On the inside, Henrik Gustafsson, an impressive record so far, but the man in white there is Todd Wiltshire, makes it away from the gate, and oh, there's problems with the tapes there, Peter.
Now the referee stopped the race here. Todd Wiltshire anticipated that start there. He made an absolute flyer. I mean, everyone dreams about making a start like that, and I think the referee felt that it was a real unfair advantage. I'm pretty sure that the referee will just call a restart with all 4 on that one.
There you see the flyer from Todd Wiltshire. That's exactly what he wanted. Didn't break the tapes, anticipated it well. We can see it again, Peter.
Yeah, actually it was a good start. I mean, he should not have pulled him for that. I mean, that is the perfect start. You see that front wheel, it was just like 6 inches off the ground, and
starting marshal, walk away. They look across at the magnets. Tapes delayed a little bit, but Wiltshire makes it again here, but with him on the inside is Gustafsson. Gustafsson in pole position now. Gustafsson chased by Wiltshire. Wiltshire comes back on the inside. Back in third place, Brian Anderson. He'll have work to do. Tail off the back is Matti Furjan, but Gustafsson once again is on his way and really flying for the 4th time tonight.
yeah, I mean, at Poole he looked very, very rusty on Wednesday, but here he's just riding like a tiger, and you know, he's never been headed, Tony. He's just going for it all the way. He's just a little bit cagey into that corner, but as soon as he's got it sorted out, he just bangs that power on and away he goes.
What a night for Henrik Gustafsson. Doesn't look like being headed here. Todd Wiltshire, the Aussie, in second place, bucking and rearing and going wide and locking up, and now Anderson can put him under pressure. Wiltshire will have to use all his track craft to hold the Dane away, because Anderson's putting him under pressure. Now Anderson's going round the outside, coming back on the inside. Wiltshire holds him at bay, but out front, well, Gustafsson is totally in control. Down the back straight goes Gustafsson. Still the battle is on there for second place, but in white, Todd Wiltshire will surely hold it now, and does, to make sure that he gets a place in the semi-finals. And Wiltshire goes through in second place in white. Brian Anderson in blue takes third place. Both he and Matti Furjan will have the opportunity to go again, but Henrik Gustafsson is through to race.
What's going on?
I'm making some good starts, and then if you're in front, you just go over them bumps and let the bike go wherever it wants, really. It's easier if you're in front.
This must be, this is a surprise for a lot of fans, obviously, because Joe Screen was supposed to be here, and best wishes to go out to Joe Screen, obviously. But for you, this is one hell of a chance, right?
Yeah, it is. Well, I don't know how long he's going to be out for, but as soon as he gets well again, he's going to come in again. So yeah. I'm just here to enjoy myself.
Okay, well, did Joe say anything to you before you came out here?
No, I never spoke to him after his crash. So.
Okay, all right, well, what have you got planned for the semi-final? It's been exciting stuff so far.
I don't know. I don't know the rules, so we'll see what's happening.
You sound like your head is spinning.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Okay, well, go and spin off and we'll see you later on. Good luck. Obviously, had something in your mind.
Important race, you know. The last chance heat's looking to be really hard, and it's vital to make a good start and win that race to get in the semi-final.
In the semi-finals now, this is great for you because it hasn't been too good over the last few years, has it?
No, that's right. I mean, I was that close, you know, 5 times last year, and we're there now. I'm going to keep doing that.
Okay, so any changes for the semi-finals? Or you're going to keep everything the same?
No, we've done changes all night, and I think this change we did the last time is working, so we'll keep like that now.
Peter Karlsson, well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Averages on the outside, a little bit of a surprise packet here is Matti Furjan, of course, the Continental champion who won his title, I think, in LEIGH last season. Look along the tape, Starley Marshall, the familiar pattern, walks away. Referee Tony Steele, finger on the button, lets the tapes up quickly, coming across. In white is Leigh Adams, but going wide is GOLLOB to pick up the racing line, and GOLLOB down that back straight picks it up, and GOLLOB is battling away in front now, and he's sorted it out. He knew that line, he picked it, now he's away. TOMASZ GOLLOB looking back. I wonder, Peter.
GOLLOB, I mean, he's got a 50-metre lead on the first lap here, but there's a big dice going on here between Greg Hancock and Leigh Adams. It's all on here because whoever finishes third in this one is going to go out and the last, so it's so important to get this second place behind GOLLOB.
No doubt about GOLLOB now qualifying, bar a chapter of accidents, but these two are really dicing. It's Adams in white, gaining a few wheel lengths there, ahead of the man in blue, Greg Hancock. But down the back straight, TOMASZ GOLLOB with a lap and a quarter to go. Looks to be slowing up a little bit, but TOMASZ GOLLOB now is stretching his lead surely. He's only got to keep it going during this final lap, and TOMASZ GOLLOB will be through to the semi-finals. Who's going to be with him? At the moment, Leigh Adams is favourite in white in second place, and Hancock will tumble out, but Leigh Adams is going to get that second place. GOLLOB will take the checkered flag now. He is through to the semi-finals, so too is Leigh Adams. Disappointment in third place in blue for Greg Hancock. He and Matti Furjan drop out, they're eliminated. They get consolation points, and both will have to start in the preliminaries at the Millennium Stadium. But TOMASZ GOLLOB and Leigh Adams will march on in this to the semi-finals, and both of them will be...
Now he's just quietly going about winning, and just look at that. He's got his left leg there just trailing in the air. He knows what he's doing. He's got such a lead, and now he's sort of just slacked off. He's done just enough to stay in front. But Leigh Adams, this move here when he goes past Greg Hancock there on the back wheel, Greg's in an awkward position now on the outside as they enter this tight corner. Greg knows that he's got to back that throttle off because there was no way he was going to stop the charging Leigh Adams there coming inside him. But you can see the rain that we're getting here. It's absolutely lashing it down now. Conditions are getting difficult, but the track is standing up to it well. And again, we can see this action here from Leigh Adams. He's getting grip low down, which is unusual because the grip normally moves to the outside for the track trade.
Tony Rickardson goes from the inside, 3 times a world champion. Ron Sullivan goes from gate 2 in blue. Bron Anderson, the Dane, is having a good night, goes in white. And the last Brit surviving, Carl Stonehewer, who needs to produce the ride of his life in this one to get rolled. Let's see what happens here. We wait for the tapes to fly up. Carl Stonehewer tries, but he's left at the tapes a little bit and will now have work to do round the outside. But can he pick up the grip? Yes, he is! Carl Stonehewer moves into second place there. He could be making the semi-finals. Oh, let's follow Carl Stonehewer here because he is in second place there behind the rider in blue, Ron Sullivan. Australia first, England second, and well, who cares if Stoney makes the final here? Bucking and rearing there is Tony Rickardson. Rickardson could go out, but no, Stonehewer has gone down. Desperate disappointment. Did he try too hard, PC?
Oh, very unlucky for Carl there. He just lifted, everybody lifted in that same place, all those 3 leading riders, and Carl just absolutely went down in a bad spot. But again, it's given Tony Rickardson the chance to move up into that last qualifying spot behind Ryan Sullivan. But just look at Ryan. He's doing absolutely everything right there out in front.
He's had a good night, Ron Sullivan, and Tony Rickardson, a man favoured by many to get the world crown again this year, to add to the 3 already. Looks like safely seeing himself through to those semi-finals. On the final lap here, it's Ron Sullivan who's going to take the checkered flag. Tony Rickardson is going to get second place. Disappointment for Brian Anderson. Bigger disappointment for KARLSSON. He'd be at the Millennium, but he'll have to start for the first 4 heats. But that man there is Ryan Sullivan in blue. He'll be in the main event in Cardiff. So too will Tony Rickardson. But for them, probably the more important factor tonight. They're through to the semi-finals.
On the bottom bend there, just lift. Tried everything he could to hang on to it, but see the old fox there, Tony Rickardson, took evasive action and gained a place in the process. Tony lifts also, you see Tony almost lose it. Carl there just on the outside. Fortunately, he was just off the racing line and everybody missed him, but you can't knock him for trying. Look at that, every one of those riders, even the leader, Ryan Sullivan, was on his back wheel, and Tony Rickardson was at the same time, but Carl was...
Yeah, there's a little bit of a hole on the second, or in the middle of the first and second bend, and quite a big one coming into the third bend. You know, you sort of can ride around it, but it's very difficult. The track's so narrow on the entrance, it makes it really difficult to make your turn. But you know, we're all getting on with it, and you know, there's a few incidents, but you know, it's good that all the boys are sort of using their heads. Great for fellow Aussie there, Ryan Sullivan, to get through to the semis. Yeah, it was good for me too. I'm pretty happy, you know, in the top 8, but you know, we want to go through and get to the A final here if we can. You've been looking cool and collected all evening and just ploughing your way through. Is that the way you planned it? Yeah, I'm just kind of using my head, you know, and trying to dodge the ruts and get some smooth lines, and it's working. But don't get me wrong, I'd like to do it from the tapes. You know, it's I just got to get a little bit tougher on the first turn and maybe get out of that second turn in front, and I'm quite sure I can be faster than anybody. So. Now, what gate are you going off? I'm not sure. I've got to go and find out. I think I've got a choice with either Tony, I think, or Ryan. So I'll see what happens. Preference would be? Preference would be, I don't know. It was sort of weird. The outside was working good to start with, but you know, they're all fairly even now. I think probably gate 1's working fairly nice, but you know, I think the outside, whatever, really. Okay. Whatever. You'll just deal with it, won't you? Feed them at me. You get on with it, Lee. All right. Good luck, mate.
Sweden goes from gate 2. Todd Wiltshire, the flying Australian, having a great night, goes from gate 3. And Peter KARLSSON, who flattered, certainly, well, he didn't deceive anybody when he went from the outside all the way from tapes to checkered flag in his last outing to win. Have a look across the tapes. GOLLOB on the inside, Rickardson, Wiltshire, KARLSSON on the outside. Tapes fly up, KARLSSON anticipate, locks up slightly, but in blue it's Tony Rickardson who picks it up. I don't think they'll head him from here when he gets in that position. Disappointment, GOLLOB's in second place. Coming through in yellow is KARLSSON. Disappointment at the back for Wiltshire. He has work to do, but out front, they're bucking, they're rearing, but the man in blue, Tony Rickardson, 3 times a world champion, perhaps again set for it this year. Down the back straight, Rickardson looking fast. Yeah, fabulous move there as well from GOLLOB when Peter KARLSSON went past him. He did a perfect cutback manoeuvre, but Peter again plugging away around the inside, but Thomas GOLLOB's got so much experience, I think he'll hang on to that. But Tony Rickardson out in front. Is he the best rider in the world? Well, this will help him to have choice of gates when they get through to the final, and that could prove vital if the track deteriorates any further. But Tony Rickardson has time to look back. So too does the man in second place there, TOMASZ GOLLOB. He's got time to look back as well. But look at Tony Rickardson. Rickardson there looks back, and problems at the back. But, well, no problem for the man out front in blue, Tony Rickardson. Rickardson has time. He will take the checkered flag here. Second place, TOMASZ GOLLOB in red. And, well, Todd Wiltshire disappointing. Peter KARLSSON disappointing. But Tony Rickardson, could he be on the way to another Grand Prix title? Choice of gate, NIKKI PEDERSEN it is who will go in blue in gate number 2. Henrik Gustafsson will go in gate 3. The white helmet colours on the outside. It's Lee Adams, the Australian. So a real battle here. Remember, the first 2 go through to the through to the final. The second 2, will they compete in the B final? All are through to the main event at the Millennium Stadium. But this is what they're racing for. Honours here. Our starting marshal once again moves away. This is the second semi-final on the inside in red. Ryan Sullivan coming across in blue. A great start for NIKKI PEDERSEN. Work for the Henrik Gustafsson now, who's been immaculate all night, now in second place. And certainly Gustafsson will work and look set for a final place if he keeps it here. Yeah, NIKKI PEDERSEN out in front there. Fantastic riding from
riding for Kings Lynn this year, moved from Wolverhampton. But again, Gustafsson in second place, although he lifted there on that spot, but he's just about hanging on now, and they're putting some room now between the two behind riders.
Disappointment for Lee Adams at the back, disappointment for Ron Sullivan. The two Aussies not enjoying this one, and they will have to content themselves with a place in the consolation final for places 5 to 8. But here, marching on now, the Scandinavians in charge. And it's Nicki Pedersen in the blue helmet colours as they go towards the start of the final lap with Henrik Gustafsson in second place. They'll keep it safe here because they know that both of them, if they stay upright, will surely be in the final. But a bit of a mistake there by Gustafsson. He's recovered well. Pedersen out front with half a lap to go. It's the two Scandinavians, safe and sure. The man in blue is Nicki Pedersen. He will take the checkered flag first. Henrik Gustafsson in white goes second. Third, Lee Adams in yellow. Ron Sullivan in red. Both of those content surely to take part in the consolation final. Perhaps not so content. They have to do it by those positions. But Nicki Pedersen and Henrik Gustafsson are through to that final. And they're going to enjoy themselves there when they join an Australian. Is Lee Adams, who goes in white. Wiltshire from Sydney. Ron Sullivan from Adelaide. Lee Adams from Mildura in Victoria. And Peter KARLSSON, the Scandinavian, the Swede. The crowd still sitting patiently, a little bit wet. The riders covered in mud. Their leathers will need cleaning after this. The penultimate time, the starting marshal moves away and away they go. Coming across from the outside is Peter KARLSSON. He's done it before tonight and now he's away, the Swede. Peter KARLSSON ahead of in second place, Todd Wiltshire, but KARLSSON is looking fast down there and he's not going to get caught here if it stays like this.
Yeah, he's riding the good line, Tony. It's surprising really how this track's improved as we've gone on through tonight, but at the back there I think Ryan Sullivan's struggling a bit, but out in front Peter KARLSSON is having a fabulous ride, right on the fast line, all the grip just on the edge of the racing line.
With about 50 or 60 metres between him and Ron Sullivan. Ron Sullivan has virtually packed up. He will just pot around the track now to make sure of those Grand Prix points. In second place is red is Todd Wiltshire. He's struggling. No such problem for Peter KARLSSON. KARLSSON now with just over a lap to go. He won't have to make a mistake here. He's way in front and short of 5th place in this Grand Prix, and that will ensure him with 15 Grand Prix points and put him very much in contention going to Cardiff with some of the big guns starting in the preliminary events. But Peter KARLSSON here in the yellow helmet colour is going to take it with some comfort here from the outside. He shot for the tapes and since then metaphorically has really never looked back. But Todd Wiltshire moving into second place in red there. A disappointment for the other protagonists. There we see in yellow Peter KARLSSON, the man who's taken this winner of Heat 23, as you see from the caption, 15 Grand Prix points for Peter.
Yeah, it's been hard work, you know, with the conditions, the weather and the new track here, but yeah, I'm glad, but I'm a bit disappointed that I didn't make it into the high final, you know. I reckon I could have done some damage there.
I'll tell you what, there's no pleasing some people, is that you made it look easy, that B final though.
Yeah, you know, my bike was working good, my antique frame and GM engine, you know, was going good, and my riding's been good too, you know, this year. It's I'm pleased with it.
It's still bucketing down with rain here, as you can see, and it's actually freezing cold. Are you going to watch the final here?
Definitely, yeah. Okay. I want to see Tony win it.
So can we have a prediction from you, Mr. KARLSSON?
Yeah, I think Tony's going to win it.
You do?
Yeah, I don't really know who else is in it, but I think he's the man.
I'll tell you what, it's going to be some final though, isn't it, with Nicki Pedersen and Henrik Gustafsson and, of course, TOMASZ GOLLOB. It's real high caliber stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's all good riders, you know. There's probably 10 in the field, you know, that can win it, but I think Tony's got the edge.
Okay, Peter, you go and watch it at the screen over there. Well done tonight, absolutely brilliant. Well,
on the inside, Henrik Gustafsson, he goes from gate 1. Tony Rickardson, fellow Swede, goes from gate 2 in blue. In white is Nicki Pedersen, perhaps the shock of the night. Nicki Pedersen with his efforts. Now racing, of course, for Kings Lynn. And as rain continues to pour down on TOMASZ GOLLOB there, who's going from the outside. Just wonder what Thomas had. Third, fourth choice there he had with...
absolute classic TOMASZ GOLLOB in this one, Tony.
So heat 24 on the inside. There is Henrik Gustafsson. Rickardson next to him. In white is Pedersen. On the outside it's Gollob. Gollob will go for it, but look at Gustafsson coming wide. But the immaculate Nicky Pedersen picks it up now, and Pedersen is out front. This could be another shock, but the battle joined by Gollob, who's come from last to second. Rickardson is eclipsed in this in third place at the moment. But look at Nicky Pedersen, because he's steaming down this home straight. The tear-off's coming off. It's pouring with rain. The mud is flying, but Pedersen doesn't mind.
Yeah, Tony, the youngest rider in the GP this year. Nicky Pedersen is going really well, but he's got that pole on his tail. Thomas Gollob, he's going to try and find that dirt on the outside, but Thomas, they're taking one hand off the bars to try and go round, but Tony Rickardson's jumped into second place.
Look at the effort of those, only just over halfway. Oh, look at this drama in the extreme, and that was Rickardsson coming through, and they're going, oh, there's almost coming to blows there, because look at this, Tony Rickardsson seemed to carve into Nicky Pedersen. Somebody's going to be excluded here, and we're going to have to go for it all over again.
Yeah, frustration there from Tony Rickardsson. You know, he threw his hand down there. Nicky Pedersen is the one that feels bad about this, because Nicky was winning the race. He was brought down by Tony Rickardsson. Tony got it all wrong. He hit that dirt on the inside, that hole, and took off and really took the bike from under Nicky Pedersen. Nicky is not amused whatsoever. Tony Rickardsson might be the best man, but he's taken down his pretender there, because Nicky Pedersen really was going on to win that one, Tony.
Well, Tony Rickardsson, Nicky Pedersen absolutely furious. There can surely only be one decision for our referee, Tony Steele, here, and he's made it. There we see Tony Rickardsson is eliminated. He's excluded by our referee. He'd be absolutely furious about that, but I don't think Peter, the referee, had any option.
No, I think a fair decision would be to declare the result, because it means if they rerun this one, Nicky Pedersen would have to go out against Thomas Gollob and try to do that again. But really, Nicky had got that one sewn up. There we can see what happened. Rickardsson picked up on the back wheel and just took the bike completely from under Nicky Pedersen. Down they go into the fence, both lucky to get up and walk away. Nicky Pedersen there on the outside. That wheelie from Rickardsson was just unbelievable. We've seen riders hit that so often tonight, and unfortunately again that was down to the track, and Thomas Gollob did well to miss that carnage. But again we can see it, Rickardsson lifts there in the centre of the corner, almost corrects it, and just sails straight into Nicky's front wheel.
Well, we're waiting to hear what our referee Tony Steele can do about that, because track conditions far from perfect now. A little bit of annoyance, but I think Rickardsson is apologising.
Yeah, I'm sure Tony is apologising, because it really was Tony's fault. And Tony went past Thomas Gollob there really well. He had a real good go here down this bottom bend. We can see at that point, that's where everything went wrong for him and Nicky Pedersen. And for Nicky to have to go out in a rerun, which he may have to do, I think that's very unfair. Again, Tony's trying to apologise, but one very angry Nicky Pedersen, that's for sure.
Well, he had the Grand Prix title there for the beckoning.
Position, but he does a really good manoeuvre again down the pit turn, and down the back straight, down the start and finish straight again. Rickardsson has got Gollob in his sights, but again, the start, Rickardsson really made a bad job of the start, but it was the man of the moment, Nicky Pedersen, the youngest rider here in tonight's GP, that makes that first corner against these three riders who are all 30 years old. So he is really the young pretender, and what a first corner. Look at that style.
Well, we saw what happened there, but our referee Tony Steele has made his decision in his box overlooking the starting tapes. It means that Tony Rickardsson is excluded, and the restart will be with just three riders, Henrik Gustafsson, Nicky Pedersen and Thomas. Nicky Pedersen, the young Dane, goes from gate 3, and the man that probably 5,000 of this crowd are cheering for is Thomas Gollob. They were delighted when the race was stopped and there was a rerun. Thomas Gollob hasn't won a Grand Prix since July 1999, and that was the Polish Grand Prix. Can he win another one here? Gustafsson on the inside. My colleague Peter Collins has drawn him in the sweep here. I wonder if he'll win for him. Starting marshal moves away they go. Gollob comes across on the outside, Gustafsson's left there. Gollob flies and goes wide. Pedersen comes through on the inside and will have to chase in. But Gollob now is going away, bucking and rearing. He's got the speed, got the space, and he's away, Peter.
Yes, Gollob wouldn't let a chance like that slip whatsoever. He knew that outside gate was pretty good out there, and the first corner he rode was unbelievable. But, you know, the track's so tricky out here now that anybody could slide up and go down, so it really isn't over yet, but I do feel for Nicky Pedersen.
Tomasz Gollob in his first Grand Prix final in 9 meetings now has time to look back. Disappointment for NIKKI Pedersen. He's now been chased at the back by Henrik Gustafsson, but Gollob really out front has this for the taking. The Poles will be delighted here in Berlin because there's a fair few of them here, but Gustafsson now coming through in second place to relegate NIKKI Pedersen for third. The young Dane, desperately disappointed, comes back there inside Gustafsson with Gollob way out front now, and Gollob, well, is the man, has time to look back. They lock up, I think he almost lost count of the number of laps, but down the back straight goes Tomasz Gollob, and Tomasz Gollob is set to win his 6th Grand Prix, 5 previous victories in Grand Prix, and the battle at the back there. Gollob just gets it. Really, he fell asleep there, but Tomasz Gollob did it surely for my money. And really, well, Peter, that was not without interest, and the Poles are absolutely delighted. What a night, what a race, what a lot of cheering, and the fireworks are flying now because Tomasz Gollob has won his 6th Grand Prix, his first for nearly 2 years. But the celebrations now will belong to the Poles in this Friedrich Ludwig Jahn Stadium here in Berlin. What a night for Speedway.
Oh, that was unbelievable, Tony. Tomasz Gollob there, what a class act he was. He just did enough to win that race. He put all the pressure on from the start. He got all his concentration on the starting gate. There he gets back to his pit crew. The Poles are totally ecstatic with this one. His pit crew are throwing him in the air, and just about kept the lead over the line as Henrik Gustafsson did that last-minute dash, almost threw it away, but did just enough, and he must feel really good now to be leading the GP series after the first round. And you know, we've seen a lot of him in the past. He's come very close in the past. Could this be his year, Tony?
Well, Tomasz Gollob, the man of the moment. Congratulations from his pit crew. A really great night for Speedway. Shocks galore, but in the end, a great Speedway rider has won a great meeting. He is the German Grand Prix champion.
Gustafsson, when he's going to go past NIKKI Pedersen, there was a real race going on here for 2nd and 3rd place with Gustafsson and NIKKI Pedersen, and when Gustafsson goes by there, Pedersen really has another go at the inside, but Gustafsson just kept going and going, and he just chopped down that lead from Gollob, and by the finish he was almost there. Again, we can see NIKKI Pedersen fighting back as he comes under Gustafsson again. Gustafsson straightens the bike up here, makes a long straight of it, dives up the inside. We see some elbowing going there. Pedersen's leg's been taken away. Gustafsson just about limps into that corner because the track conditions are so difficult, but a marvellous piece of control. And Gustafsson again, he's round the pit bend, looking as though he's just about hanging on there. And Gollob there seems to lose so much ground. Again, Pedersen comes back at Gustafsson. Gustafsson lines him up again. Here's that elbowing piece again as they enter the bottom.